So I am Dr. Veronique Zimmerman-Brown. I am the owner of Brown's Education Consulting, and we do everything from helping our youth with test prep all the way up with helping adults understand learning, and we also do grant writing and help with foundation building, building for organizations. I am originally from Monterey, California, Fort Ord, California. I am a military, I don't want to say brat, so I'm not going to say brat, but my father was in the Army. We ended up settling in the South, Columbus, Georgia, and from there I went to the Alabama State University, and I got a degree in math education, then went on to University of Alabama, Birmingham, special education, English as a second language, and I received my PhD from the University of Alabama and UAB in educational leadership, K through higher ed. So I've been doing a lot. A unique thing about me is me. I am a hybrid, they call me. I like doing a lot of things, but I really love just helping people understand any topic. I will research anything that people are having problems grasping, and I will find a way to break it down in terms of content, find a way to train others so that they understand what steps to take and break it down. That's why I have that special education and English as a second language background to help those people that have language barriers, but also barriers in terms of their learning pathway. So that's what I specialize in. Hope. I believe that people have the ability to change. I believe that people can learn. It's just how we choose to break it down. I don't think that we should assume anything, and that's why I think that there have been some difficulties in some people understanding, because some of their instructors, teachers, or whatever may assume that they know a concept, and it may be a missing gap. And if you just take the time to evaluate and figure out what they know and they don't know, then you can help them fill in those gaps. And if once you fill them in, they seem to take off exponentially. But when you come in with these preconceived notions based on your experiences, and you're not willing to slow down and pay attention to individuals' experiences and their background, that is your first mistake. But I believe that everyone has a right to have hope. So that's why I continue to do what I do, because I believe in our people. I believe in our young folks. I love being around them. I'm an old fogey now. I call myself the old head, but I believe that I can learn from them as well. That's why I love being around them, because they keep me energized, and I learn something from them every day. So if we treat each other with parity, with respect, and we believe that we can all learn from each other, I think that this is going to be a better place, a better world, and I want to be a part of that. Yeah, so it's not the youth that's the issue, it's the adults in the room. Sometimes, especially from us that look like us, they have been trained to think that excellence cannot look like us. So they want to hear from everyone else and deem them as the experts when they have an expert right in their face. It has been very challenging sometimes to get contracts, to get in the door with some organizations where they want proof of this and proof of that, but you let others come in with no proof, or they have skewed data, and you accept it for what they give you, where they're not actually telling the whole truth, but you want me to come in with all of these metrics and you won't let me in the door. However, I am a part of your community. I go to church with you, I eat with you, I go to the shopping centers with you. So if I fail, you have a way to contact me and hold me accountable. So if anything, I would be the better fit, or community-based organizations would be the better fit, because we have that level of accountability and we actually care about our community. So sometimes it is a little disheartening when you're talking to people, and especially people of color that came from the same backgrounds as you, and you feel like you have to validate yourself, and you have all of these credentials, and they still want further validation. That is very frustrating for me, because if you want me to pull out the numbers, I can pull out the numbers, okay? But why do I have to do all of that and you don't require the same thing from other groups? So that's what I have a problem with. Being part of the Birmingham community is this community is rich with heritage and legacy, but it's disheartening at the same time. Let me give you an example. Talk to a high school student, asked a high school student about Martin Luther King. Oh, he had an affair with a white woman, and that's all they could tell me about Martin Luther King. Asked him about Malcolm X. Oh, he was a tyrant. He was a mean person. Asked them about slavery. Oh, they picked cotton. How in the world do we live in Birmingham, in a civil rights gold mine, and we have children going to school here with mostly black educators, and they can't tell me simple things about key people in our history? There's a problem with that. That means that we've lost our identity. So when it comes to Birmingham, it's a calling card for me to say, hey, what's going on in our own backyards? And let's not pass the blame on to everyone else. What do we need to do to galvanize ourselves and our children so that they can start to care? Because if they don't even know who they are and where they came from, how do we expect them to care? We say, oh, they don't care. Well, who trained them not to care? So it is our responsibility. When I think of Birmingham, I think of a responsibility that we have to not discredit, not disrespect the people that did so much to get us to this point. That's what it means to me about Birmingham. Light, and I see light in our young people. I have with my company, I have a group of very talented, bright African Americans that work for me. That do ACT prep, they do ACAP prep, they do tutoring, they help me write grants, and they are phenomenal, and they are always willing to learn and grow. So what keeps me motivated is knowing that there are groups of younger people out there that are prepared to do the work and want to do the work. All of this negativity that's out here about what people aren't doing, I have been blessed to be around those who are doing. So even organizations like you all, where you are doing social action, that gives me hope. That keeps me motivated. That makes me want to do more. And I feel like I have a purpose, and my purpose now is to unload. Like all the things that I know, all the things that I've learned, all the processes that I've had, I feel like a sense of urgency to train others so that they can carry on the work, knowing that tomorrow is not promised. So that is what motivates me, is this urgency to unload so people can continue to carry on. Share. Know who you are, and once you know, collect data as you go. All kinds of data, because sometimes people will test you. Sometimes we're just doing stuff and we do great things, but we don't necessarily document that we're doing great things. If you're out there doing things in the community, take pictures, have people sign in, collect these artifacts and tell your story, start telling your story, because that becomes your marketing piece. I'm not saying that you're collecting these things so that you could say, ooh, look at all the wonderful things that I've done, but you're collecting these things so that you'll have something to go back and reflect upon, to do some evaluation of yourself on what you could have done better, but also to be able to put some metrics on paper so that when you're trying to go after funding, you're trying to go after getting volunteers and what have you, you have something to say and it's on paper so that you can better communicate it to others. So start early in the process. When you're wanting to do all these creative things and you have all these ideas, write them down and then do an analysis and an evaluation of all you're doing, and steadily reflect upon what's working, what's not working, what's needed and what's not needed. Also, what's needed? Are you taking a look at your community to see what's actually needed? Because you may have a bright idea, but if it's not actually needed, it's just a bright idea. It's not worth spending your energy and time doing something that's not going to actually make impact. So our life is short. We should plan to make impact and be intentional about making impact. Sometimes disappointments will come, and sometimes disappointments will come from the very people that are your sister friends, The very people that look like you, because sometimes people are afraid. They're afraid of scarcity. They're afraid of being pushed out. So they're willing to lash out at anyone and anything to keep their place, their perceived place. But you have to rise above that type of mentality and be willing to share and be willing to care to keep your own sanity and to remember who you are. So no matter what anyone else tries to do to you, understand that if it's meant for you, whatever they try to do to you is just gonna make you stronger, and you're still gonna be able to rise above that. I had to learn that through some heartache, through some pain, through some disappointment, through some betrayal. At the end of the day, it helped me realize how much I really was. That was a hard one, and I talked about this earlier. I set boundaries. I am married, I am happily married, and I plan on staying married. So I had to set boundaries with all of these organizations. I had to drop off some boards and some organizations because I was like, okay, I'm spending all this time with everyone else, but when am I spending time with my husband? When am I spending time with my children? When am I spending time with my spiritual growth? So you have to set boundaries and understand that you have your folks that you're dealing with, but you got your foundation. And for me, God and my husband, they are a part of my foundation. So I protect that at all costs. I protect my time with my family at all costs. I had to learn that. We went through some rough times because I felt like I had to do everything. And he basically was screaming out saying, hey, enough is enough. You're bringing this home. So there are certain things that I do not bring home. I do not, because he doesn't deserve that. So in terms of setting the stage for women, understanding that you can be a superwoman, but you don't have to be a superwoman to everyone and everything. Be a superwoman in your house, in your own house first, before you're a superwoman to everyone else, because your house is gonna take care of you when you're sick, your house is gonna take care of you when you're tired, and your house is gonna stick with you when it's time for you to move on to your next. So as a woman who plans on getting into a relationship or not get into a relationship with a male or a female, whatever you do, you have to take care of home, and home is yourself as well. So I have a Facebook posting that's Brown's Education Consulting. They can look me up on Facebook. Also, my email address is impact@brownscollective.com. I will help organizations get structured, get set up for data collection and for evaluation to get you prepared. A lot of people come to me and say, hey, you write grants. I want you to write a grant. I want you to write a grant for me. I will work with you so that you can get grant ready. I can take your money and write grants, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win the grants. There are certain pieces that you need to have in place, certain things that you need to do in order to prep and actually win grants, and that is a part of the process, and I'll train you on how to do that and get the documents in place to do that. I also am looking for additional people to work under me for test prep, for ACT and for ACAP. I will train you. However, I need people who like children and who don't mind breaking down content and who don't mind studying in order to break down content. I need for people to talk to students, get them to talk more and engage and actually use their critical thinking skills and not just talk to them as if they are barking at them, but treat them like they're humans. You'll be surprised how receptive students are if you actually talk to them like you've got some sense. So if you're that type of person who is energetic, who wants to help others and wants to learn and doesn't mind learning, then come on board. I've got a place for you. I pay my people well. You can ask any of my employees. I pay them well and I pay them on time. But there's some expectations that I have, and you inspect what you expect. And I do that.